All right. Let's see.
Are the Heat gonna win game 2?
Are the
What's
Heat
the go?
They better not.
Nah.
After game 1, boy, Nate, I looked at the betting lines and the numbers went up just for Denver to go 4-0.
Oh yeah. After game 1, I said this might be a sweep. So
Sweet.
I don't know. Maybe the Heat will win, but
really.
I mean the Nuggets are just a better team. So,
but the Celtics were a better team too.
But the Celtics didn't actually play like it. The Celtics did not play early in their series like they really wanted to win.
Yeah, that's true. So let's get into it. The Be a Light podcast mission statement is we are the number one mentorship for mindset development, career ascension, education, and leadership cultivation. Our DNA is that we are authentic, positive, respect all sex, race, religion, political views, and preference. And we are loving to have a great sense of humor because at the end of the day, you need to be positive, you need to be alive, and you need to be in a good headspace. So that's what we're here for. Welcome back to the Be Light Podcast. It's your boy K.Sloan here with the homies.
J.Jones.
Jay Jiggity.
That's your boy Nate G.
That's your boy Nate G. And then we got
just like the one.
Our
MrliftN'Go.
I probably do just like
been on here the last 2 episodes, and this how he come back at.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for real? Oh, okay.
It's a podcast. They want the most light possible. There we go.
Yeah. Introduce yourself, sir.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Me? Marcus. It's MrliftN'Go. If you know, you know.
Facts. We knew. So, you know, a thing
this
that I wanted
podcast get me some reviews on that name too. It got to be because of this podcast, because somebody's going back and actually looking me up.
What you mean?
MrliftN'Go, I get. You know how you get the revisits and you get new visits and you get hits on your YouTube.
Yeah.
Like probably every time this podcast goes off, or like the next day. I don't know who's watching, but I got some new viewers, so I appreciate this.
Not 100%. Yeah, that's love, y'all. Keep showing love to MrliftN'Go, man. He is TV. He is TV for sure. You need a TV show, bro. You miss your call. You need to be on TV. But what's not on TV is what's going on in my local government. I want to speak on this real quick. In my city, my Central Texas city of Harker Heights, Texas. Guys, we need to get more abreast as to what's going on in our local government. Who's voted in the office. Make sure that you know what's happening. You do know who the council members are, who is the mayor, who are the possible people that'll run, and what they are interested in, because they have to protect your interest and you have to hold them accountable. So I just wanted to put that out there because that's something that I've taken at this season of my life. We're gonna talk about seasons. At this season of my life, that's what I'm kind of focused on, because we can't say we're gonna be a light and not know what could possibly dim our light or make it grow, especially when it comes to where you at. So you know, I'm not the advocate for like everybody go out and vote, because I feel like if you don't know what you're voting for, then why would you just go run into a fire or into a war with no, you know what I'm saying, no weapon? Like, you need to know what so I wanted to put that out there real quick. But what y'all got going, bros? What y'all got going?
We're started with that topic. I like that topic.
What's that?
He wasn't talking about
the season topic.
Oh, you like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why you say that?
Because I mean, everybody deals with kids on here. You can look back at the younger you and be like, that meant nothing at that time, or the seasons of your life and priorities and restructuring your priorities. I like that. So
100%.
if you could catch it at an earlier age, you know what I'm saying, and really prioritize certain things, whether it be education, politics, money, whatever. Like, yes, you were right. The different seasons in your life.
It's real. And I think we can get into it then, Nate. What was you thinking about that then when we're talking about seasons, man?
Really like DeMarcus just said, kind of prioritizing what season is. But for me, I was just really thinking of it as understanding like when you're moving from one thing to another in life. Like I was telling y'all earlier, kind of reflecting on that transition into fatherhood. It's like things mean a little bit more now. Like I handle situations a little bit differently. And I think that's where it hit me of like just be aware of when your season is changing, right? You grow up and like even what the markets are saying, you're young, you have to grow from somewhere, right? Like I don't think you're really gonna get kids to see it or younger adults necessarily. Maybe a few of them, but I think that's one of those maturity things of once you look and you say, okay, I moved from this to that. When you get that maturity, try to apply it every day. Really, I think that helps you move in the right way.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like they're saying, knowing where you at kind of let you know how to move. I mean, a lot of people had like relationships in high school that they thought would be forever, but ended up not being anything. You think you're in a season of love, but it might just be a little season of lust. So you never know you need to know what season. Be aware of what seasons you're in. So you like they both said. So you really know how to move, because like when you get older and mature, more mature, you just who talking in the background, but you just know where you at. You know how to move. So I thought I heard somebody say, "Bruh." I was like,
Nah, that's real though. I think that goes into being present. You know what I'm saying? Like being present in your current time, because your season is gonna change. It's not gonna. Life never stays the same. So progression is required for the journey. In order to be progressive, you gotta be ready for that maturity. Like Nate says, I got a kid, and my kid now brings this level of maturity over me as a man, as that protector, as that provider. I'd be a fool to continue to move forward like I'm the man I was without this child in my life. Like now I'm only setting myself up for failure for the next season because it's only gonna get harder from here. But I have to become stronger, and I have to be the man that's required for the time that we're in. You know what I'm saying? Like Coach B, our old coach, I always be shouting him out. I swear I'm about to get this man famous at some point. He always talked about what's important now is winning. You know what I'm saying? Like what's important now? Like what do you need to do right now? And whatever that is, once you get in that situation, it's time to do it. And then once you out of it, it's time to reflect so that the next situation, the next season is a fruitful one versus one of, what I'm saying, barren lands because you made bad decisions. You made bad decisions not acknowledging the new. You know what I'm saying? Like where we are now, it changed. Things will change. Can you change with it? And if you don't, then you're gonna create issues. But if you do, you're gonna see a lot of great things that come from it.
survival of the fittest.
How do you learn how to make that change, that transition, a positive one, and to learn or to know when to change the transition? Because some people they get in a prosperous season or get in a season where they think it's prosperous and they want to stay there. Like Gerald said, you might get in a relationship, it's really not benefiting you, but you just want to stay there because you like the feeling of that season. Now seasons are shoot, that's just like any season we have in real life. You got summer, fall, spring. Some people like certain seasons, other people don't. But there's a benefit to every season. And when do you learn to transition?
Personally, I feel like I learned the transition when I came to the peace of mind that this season's coming back. So it's like if I love this season I'm in, and it's now time to transition out of it. We're coming back here because life works in a circle. So I will be back here at some point. And when I see somebody else going through a season, you know what I'm saying, I know that season's coming for me too. I gotta be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Because these seasons, they present opportunities. They also present risk. So if my new season is gonna present its own set of opportunities and risk, I think you learn when you keep going through it over and over. That's like that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Or I guess like the youngsters when they go into something that is new, you know, that ignorance. Like when you don't know, that's when you kind of got the most anxiety about what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. But as you continue to go through life, as we all have been through a good amount of life, not as much as some older folks, but as we continue to go through life, we see certain things over and over again. You got to take it to account that, shoot, this is not the only situation. This is not an isolated event. This is not the only time I'm going to break up with a girl if I'm not married. Like, this is not the only time I'm gonna get let down by people that I trusted. Like this is not the only. This is gonna happen. I mean, yeah, it hurt, or yeah, this is exciting. I got a new achievement that I've met, but at some point, this level I'm at is gonna let me down too because it's just that. Like there's nothing whole and perfect, other than God. You know what I'm saying? Like as a believer, just everything else is it can go or it could come and surprise you. You know what I'm saying? But either way, it's gonna just keep moving. Life's gonna keep moving. That's why I had someone, I was talking about movement and the messages we were talking about, bro. You gotta keep moving. You have to movement begets movement. And it's also aided by discomfort. So that's how I feel about that.
And then like Nate always said, I think moving from season to season or moving to the next season in your life, sometimes you just have to know when it's not benefiting you anymore. Like you gotta know when it's like, all right, like whatever I'm doing, I'm not feeling the same or I'm not liking it like I used to. Loving it, So I think when it's not benefiting you or when you feel like you ain't going nowhere with this season, that's when it's time to move around.
That was kind of gonna be my answer to what DeMarcus has said because
good face.
I don't think it's. If I took it the wrong way, D, then maybe I took it the wrong way. What you were saying, but I took it as you saying like, when do you know it's time to move on from like a personal type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of what I would say is when is it no longer benefiting you? That's really, what life is about. We talk about self-preservation. So if something ain't benefiting you, it's probably becoming detrimental. That's not preserving yourself. So without making that sound like super harsh, though, I think that's just one of those things you have to really evaluate and, you make the proper decision for yourself. But I don't think it's just like a simple thing of, oh, it's time for me to move on out of nowhere or something like that. It has to be a detrimental reason to me or something like that.
Yeah, because sometimes happen at an abrupt end. Sometimes you get fired, you don't even realize you're doing a bad job. So.
Right, and then you ain't got no choice. And then so if
but
you
I thought you meant when you moving on from the season, like when I'm saying I'm moving on from the season, like I thought you meant like when would I choose to move around? That's why I said when it's detrimental or it's not benefiting me.
But I will also say I'm gonna go back to the choosing to have a child thing on this. When there's an opportunity to move into a different season for a better experience or something, possibility, or a different experience, whether it's better or not, right? Because that was me choosing. Like it wasn't like child just hit me out of nowhere. We knew what we was doing. So planning to have a child, it's like I'm choosing to move into a different season. So I think when you have opportunities for growth or something like that is when you can choose to maybe move to a different season or do the work to get there, whatever it is. But I feel that.
Yeah. I think only we know our priorities. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't nobody tell us when it's time to step away or to add something or to join or go anywhere, like, or do anything, because we only know our priorities. Like, our priorities are only ours, and they consistently changing, and as they should. I think your priorities should kind of adjust a little bit. Certain things may go from number one to two. You know what I'm saying? Like DeMarcus, you in a situation where your son's priority, like his security as your baby boy, is gonna shift. You know what I'm saying? That now he's still gonna be under your tutelage, like he's still your baby, like you're still gonna take care of him, but at the same time, as a man, you know, you gotta kind of shift that a little bit to give him that independence. So that priority list might shift him for you. You know what I'm saying? And I think about stuff like that when it comes to like things we give so much to. Like for me, it was hard when you know, I moved back to my hometown and I had to shift my priority to, you know, invest in, you know, where I grew up versus being elsewhere and investing in other people's kids. I was like, man, these are like my blood. This is not like blood necessarily, but like, you know, we got the same roots. We seen the same streets. Like it was a different focus. So I had to shift my priority and how I saw what I did, because now it's like I'm literally impacting those who walk those same shoes and paths that I walk. You know what I'm saying? I think just the priorities are always shifting, but people don't know. On the outset, it looks the same sometimes for everybody else. But inside, you know when your priorities have shifted, and you got to recognize that and be real with yourself, which is why we always talk about self-reflection, self-awareness. Like you better know what's going on in your life and be aware instead of, you know what I'm saying, going into new situations with the same old ideas and expectations as to how life's supposed to go, what you're supposed to be taking care of, et cetera, et cetera.
But that also constitutes to your, I think Nate said something about this, but it also constitutes to your maturation too. Because if you're not maturing, your awareness and your priority, your awareness of your priority is probably not going in the right direction. And you probably get left behind, or you looked at as immature, or you looked at as unaware of a person because your maturity is not there.
For sure. There's a lot of cats. There's a lot of dudes that get too much too soon. You get so much so soon that your talent supersedes your wisdom or supersedes your understanding. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're so charismatic or so, you know what I'm saying, you know, impactful that you got into a situation that you cannot handle. And because you haven't matured to that level yet. And that's a part of seasons too, knowing that you may be in over your head. I think as great people, you are going to be in situations where you in over your head. And if you are mature enough without being as knowledgeable enough, you'll know to get the help. But if you not mature enough to know to get the knowledge, or know that you don't have the knowledge, then you won't get the help. You think you got it under control, and then you just lost them. And that's in both situations. We just lost them. So you lose them if you don't have that maturity and know, you know what I'm saying, that you gotta get some help. But the seasons, you gotta be able to rock. You gotta be able to keep that boat going in them tides, man. When them tides start rising and lowering, you gotta be able to keep that bad boy out at sea, or it's just a wrap. It's a wrap. But that being said, I'm sure DeMarcus will roll back on in here. But talking about, you know, not getting played and playing yourself, I guess, because I hit my other topic real quick. So I kind of want to talk about that, if y'all don't mind me bringing that one up. So I feel like, you know, even going back to what I was talking about, you know, knowing what's going on in your city, like I was talking about my personal city, but then, you know what I'm saying, expanding that out to like our state and government, state and national level. Government has politicians, leaders, very powerful figures that know what our problems are as the American people that we are. And a lot of times when you got people that have real power, you know what I'm saying, not that power that, you know, people trying to tell you what to do, it's that influential, you can't do nothing but listen type of power. Sometimes they'll take that armor off in front of you, so it seems, and then they'll try to get on your level, right? They'll try to empathize with your position. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to speak to those people, and I want to have this conversation with y'all as to what y'all think about this. Being pimped essentially for being in that position, which I would say is not having your own ideals, even though you know what I'm saying, because you know you ain't got certain things like money or influence or whatever it is you want at this time. How do you avoid, as a person that has, you know, you're in a lack, maybe you low income, maybe your social economic level ain't there, maybe you sleeping on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you middle class and you just want that American dream that's eluding you. It's like you almost right there. You like good times. We moving on up. Or is that Jefferson's? That's Jefferson's.
Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson's. You're moving on up, and you got in there, but you're not quite there. And it's like you trying to get it. And somebody that has it all in your eyes, they say, "Hey, look, man, it's okay. You don't have it because of this, this, and this. So you just need to make sure that you fight to get this, this, and this." And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And it's like, wait, did you do anything to say, is that really what you want? Or are you just saying that because the people, the group that you thought you see as, you're holy art thou, are they telling you what to think is something that you need? That's what you need? You know what I'm saying? Or are you coming up with this stuff on your own? Are you doing your own thinking for your family? Like, one thing I would say for Black folks, man, I love the Black Lives Matter movement, what it did during the George Floyd, but I feel like there's a lot of people that just subscribe to Black Lives Matter without knowing everything about it. And they just was like, well, we'll just put the t-shirt on and say Black Lives Matter, but you don't know what the organization represents. You don't know, what actually going on in our community that's tied to that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know anything. You're just letting people take your little pain point and move you around with it. And I would like to say, you know what I'm saying, that I think that's an issue, and I think we have to speak on it, because if you're trying to be a light, you can't be a light if you don't have your own light. You know what I'm saying? Somebody walking around with a light over your head showing you to say, hey, you a light for real, but you just literally following whatever it is that people are telling you should do, or telling you should be up in arms about. You know what I'm saying? I see that a lot, bro, especially with children, because they do the same thing when it comes to, like, their parents got a problem with some people. So now they got the problem with those people, but they don't know what the real issue is. They just following daddy. They just following mommy. So what's y'all's thoughts on that? You know what I'm saying? Just that being in that marginalized position, and how to kind of, weather that storm, as it is, that savior coming in and trying to protect your, you know what I'm saying, protect you essentially, but not really. Just moving you, really.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing you can do, especially as a young person, or really anybody, is ignorance is real. So just try to educate yourself as much as you can. Like Harry just said, know who's your city council, know your mayor, and make sure that like they're good people. Well, when you're voting for them, make sure they're good people that stand on what they're talking about. So
Right.
as much as you can, try to educate yourself on the people that you want, helping make the laws for you. It's building the city up, or helping build schools around, or helping the community. So you want to make sure you have real leaders that's going to stand on what they're saying, which you can't. I mean, technically you don't really. Somebody can lie to you and tell you that they're going to stand on it, but as much as you can, know about the law. Educate yourself on what they can and can't do. So, because some people, I know a lot of politicians say what they need to say to get you to vote for them.
They gonna do that though, because that's the same thing with any type of intellectual jargon, bro. That
Right.
They use those words to basically confuse you enough, and these are the good ones. They confuse you enough to where you like, they gotta be right. I don't know what that means. You gotta be right. It's like, you gotta be right. Hey man, you laughing because you know that's what they do, bro. That's the protection of the power structure. This is words that we don't understand. That's the protection.
Oh yeah, just try to look. Even if they tell you some words you don't understand, Google it.
Google
Try to
it.
figure it out, man. Educate yourself, and then vote for who you feel. Vote for who you feel the best about, because ain't nobody gonna be perfect. So that's the thing,
For real.
Yeah. Find a way to hold elected officials accountable for real is what I would say, for sure. Because all of that is so true what y'all said, but it's like they really be doing whatever they want. But power structures, whatever. But really, like Jones was saying, is our education is when you understand what you actually believe, what it is that you want, and I think to a certain degree what you're willing to accept to have those things, that's where you kind of refrain from getting pimped in certain things. Because it's like, at some point, bro, it might be, I'm going to make it as simple as saying it's a job. It might be a job that you don't really love, but it's going to pay you $250 a year, and it's going to change your life. are you getting pimped, or are you just, dealing with everything ain't perfect? You got to, accept some stuff like that sometimes. That's kind of how I see it differently. So it's like, when like, I'm willing to accept I got to travel for work or something, and that's something I really didn't want to do, right? If it's a good situation, I wouldn't call that getting pimped. If it's a win for you in the end, but just really knowing like what your morals are. That's always the thing, right? We didn't talk about selling your soul on here before, and like what that really means is
We didn't
are
talk
you
about selling
violating
your
your
soul
morals?
on here. Fuck. That's sounding funny, bro. We have though. We have. Yeah.
Watch the next time you post this clip, we gonna start getting them Illuminati IG
Oh
spam.
Lord.
Hey
That'd be
man.
so.
That's all right.
But nah, it really is to me though. That's what it is. Like, it's not selling your soul. It's not allowing yourself to go against your morals knowingly. For some kind of gain that's probably not really worth it.
Nah, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, a relationship is a relationship. Both parties should benefit. So like when I vote for you or whatever I do, when I vote for you or if I make you the manager of I should still benefit too. Like you helping me, I'm helping you by voting for you, you helping me by making stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? So in a relationship, both parties should benefit somehow.
Yeah. And when you talk about the morals, I think the morals is big because when you have no morals, that's when you, like we always talk about as well, have no walls to your city. You know what I'm saying? You always under attack. And and when you're talking about like Eastern civilization, where they teach morals in the school, they teach values in the school first. Like we start with, you know what I'm saying, basic numbers, basic reading, like they start with how to be a good person. Like they start with what should you do if money's on the ground and no one's around. You know what I'm saying? That, like what the value of being, honest. Like they teach that. And I think that's kind of where you look at a people that are, connected and whole, is because, we kind of share the same type of moral compass and code. So it's like I don't really expect you to do me wrong versus I teach you numbers, I teach you literacy, and then later on I expect you to be a good person because maybe you go to church with me. You know what I'm saying? Or because you know what I'm saying, maybe you have now said you understand my pain. You've shown me sympathy. So now I expect you to look out for me. It's like, nah, bro, like, no, that's not how this works. Like, I don't trust you like that. I need to know something. I need more knowledge. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I feel like with the marginalized communities. We have to have more knowledge to make more informed decisions in life, period. So that people aren't coming in that have more knowledge than you and telling you what you think. Because they're gonna do that. And you're not even gonna know. You're not gonna have any idea. It's happened years and years and years over and over and over. And if you do your homework, do your research, I promise you, this is prevalent throughout American history. Like that is why we are the most powerful entity, you know what I'm saying, on the planet, is because of the control factor. It's like, there's a lot of control going on here because a lot of people don't know stuff. And honestly, if we got more knowledge as a people, then we might be a little less powerful. But it might be the restructure we need. Maybe. I don't know. Don't let me get on here talking like that. I don't know. I ain't know. I ain't in that. It's not a political podcast, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
But you're right though. Like, knowledge really is everything, especially when it comes to like what you're voting for. And I don't know when we'll ever really get to that level in society, but I feel like people really don't be understanding the whole concept. Like, it be so much hidden in different laws and stuff. And it's like, will we ever truly know, a lot of the stuff that's really going on? Probably not, because there's so many different ways the government work.
It's
But on
hidden
the
in plain
voting
sight,
level,
my G. It's hidden in plain sight, my G.
absolutely. On the voting level, though, it's like, if you don't really read the little stuff that they give you, what kind of sense they make? Like, you're not even doing it for a reason at that point. You're just doing something to do it.
Yeah.
And that's crazy if you end up electing people that are detrimental to you. and it wasn't
Susie
even
voted
because
for him.
you thought that they were good or something. You just was doing something. So read, just like everything else. Read a book.
Read a remember that song? Remember back in the day, BT. Read a book. Read a book. Hey, D Money back.
Oh, none of these charges work. So sorry.
You good, brother? You good, brother?
Before.
Yeah, but
See, that's the perfect opportunity for a portable charger company to sponsor us, because the market needs a portable charger today.
Real talk. Real talk. We trying to stay lit. You feel me? We trying to stay lit. But DeMarcus, what we talking about, bro, just kind of fill you in, is we were speaking on, the marginalized communities in America, and how a lot of times our pain points, I say our pain points, the pain points of the marginalized communities. I mean, because I'll say I'm in it too. Are where a lot of people with power come in and they sympathize with those pain points, but then they control the people in that sector by that sympathy, right? Which is
it's just information.
Huh?
It's just information to use against you.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're talking about.
I seen that firsthand. I'll call them out. I don't care. I mean, they ain't putting no money in my pocket. They can come from me if they want to. There's some investors that I was part of I think I spoke on this before, but I was a part of a community cleanup. And we were knocking down houses, crack houses, trying to beautify our own community. And all of a sudden, these people just want to invest in this small little group of maybe 20, 25 guys. And then, they said they wanted to invest. They came, sat down in a couple of meetings. That group is no longer the same name that I started with. It's a different name. The founder, him and his family is going to Disney every year. I ain't his name. I mean, that might be a little too shady, but I ain't gonna put his actual name out there. But you can look it up. I mean, I'm in the picture. In the founding picture, they still use the picture. They have a podcast now where the investors, put their own people on a podcast. They run a podcast, and they have changed the whole thing. And they have put stores instead of reinvesting into the community. They helped us knock down half a neighborhood, and there are stores there now. And just like it hurt my heart. My cousin showed me this. I don't know how many people know this. And I want to be correct, so I don't know if it's Brooklyn or Harlem. I think it's Harlem, where it used to be black owned, and it was the mecca of black business. It, quote unquote, still is the mecca of black business, but it's not black owned anymore. It's mostly owned by investors, other people of different nationalities. They just left the black people there so that the face can still draw in the outsiders, the travelers, the visitors, and whatnot. But it's not actually owned by them anymore. So yeah, they come in, they listen, did the same thing to us. They came in, they listen, they sympathize, and we want to help y'all grow, and we want to help y'all do better. It's not what it was. It's not what it is right now. I'm living proof of it. It's not what it is. They came and put stores there.
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit the community anymore. They move people out. It doesn't benefit the community anymore.
Would you say, and this is my question to you, I would lobby this question to you based on you being through something like this. Would you say that that's a foundational pillar, because we talked about this a minute ago, of America? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that is a strong move. You know what I'm saying? That's our queen in this chess game. Is that type of move? Is find something good, get them to sell it to me, and then I now control it, and then I'll do what's best for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I got you guys because I've had this. I've been here. You haven't been here. Let me just buy you out. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I feel like that's kind of what happens when we talk about this. Like when I was saying power, I'm thinking investors. I'm thinking government. I'm thinking anywhere where there's that we all look to it as, hey, they got what we would all like to have. You know what I'm saying? So they really control us by our pain points at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the foundation. You know what I'm saying? That's different in the Eastern civilization where, like I was saying before, I think they're more saying, I'm not saying it's not present there, but I think I was doing research and I was saying that they start out with moral ethics and all that stuff at a younger age. Their communities have lower crime rates You know what I'm saying? We got the most imprisoned people, most incarcerated people in the world as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's almost like
percentage wise.
Yeah,
percentage wise.
Percentage of incarcerated people, we got the most. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And it's by a long shot. It ain't even close anywhere else. So it's like, we're committing more crimes. We're doing more wrong. Where we have more of this darker side of America. It's almost like it's to be expected. And I think that you get in those dangerous situations when you don't know things. So when you are ignorant here, oh, you getting played a lot of different ways. You getting hit a lot of different ways. If you dumb, like Nate say, oh, it's dangerous. You playing a dangerous game, bro.
especially when it comes to business and when it comes to money.
Oh yeah.
If anybody has ever watched the movie The Founders, it's about a guy who basically took the name from the McDonald's brother. And there's a part of that movie where he asked them, he said they were doing things, morally correct, but they didn't understand business. And if you know, McDonald's is a realty company because they buy land and then build stores on franchise. And what he did was he took their name from them. And I remember him. There's a very prominent line in that movie where he asked them, if you seen a man drowning, would you help him out the water or would you put a water hose in his mouth? No, listen to me. Listen to me. This is what he said. His name is Ray Kroc. He is not the founder of McDonald's. He owns the name, but he is not the founder. Go look up the stocks. The stocks label it as a realty company because they buy land. And what he did was he stole it from them because he would buy the land, build the store, and then charge them so much interest to where they couldn't pay for it. So he told them, would you help somebody out the water? If they was your competitor, would you help them out the water? Would you put a water hose in their mouth? And they were like, of course, I would help them out the water. It's human life. He said, that's the difference between me and you when it comes to business. I put a water hose in their mouth because I have the vantage point. So he told them it was a handshake deal. He said, we can go to court and I guarantee you, y'all don't have enough money to beat me in court because he'll draw it out to where he'll just drain them all their money. Or they did a handshake deal to where they can keep their royalties and they can keep their original McDonald's store. The original McDonald's store is no more because after the court case, go watch the movie and read the book. After the court case, I think 3 years later, he put a McDonald's across the street from their original burger shack and put them out of business.
Yeah. That's how it works. I mean, that's big boy ball.
And you know what he did? He went into their store and found out how they work. So he used their against them. He used their heart against them.
I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's I was telling Cadence about the same thing with gentrification. She was asking me about, what I'm saying, how's it work and all that stuff. And then I was like, yeah, that's what happens, man. That's how they beautify, that's how they elevate, that's how things grow here. That's, you gotta do your education. You gotta know.
I think it's very, very, unless you really, really got a plan to keep elevating and go somewhere else with it, I think it's very dangerous for minorities to sell out. And I'm not talking about sell your soul. I'm talking about you have a great idea, have a great business, trying to flourish, trying to grow, so completely out. I think it's very dangerous because they will take that idea and yes, they can manifest it in a year or two. But you no longer get any royalties, you no longer get any recognition. They gave you a nice check, they made you $1 million. Now you might go bankrupt in 7 years because you don't know how to handle that kind of money. But they gave you a nice check, and they've made triple off of that, and they're making contingency, they're making royalties, and they're sending their kids to college. You just got you a nice house and a Mercedes.
That's the importance of ownership.
Go ahead, bro. Say it again.
That's ownership. That's the importance of ownership. Like, we didn't talk about that before, but if you have a vision for something, you should be the one directing that vision, right? You may have to get people who can actually express your ideas, but it should be your ideas, right? So always the importance of ownership.
You gotta stand your ground, because them same people that give up their ideas is the same ones that wasn't getting picked on the park when we was playing basketball, football, baseball. They wasn't getting picked, and they took their ball and went home. It's like, bruh, like stand up, like you gotta stand on your, you know what I mean? Like you gotta be solid, because once that money come, you can be like, that money gonna be there. They'll be like, hey, look, you gonna be all right. You walk away with a Corvette and a beautiful house, bro, like that's a win for a lot of people. But if you know your value and you know why you in it, bro, that's not a win for you. Like if unless that's what it was. Some people actually do start businesses to sell them though. So I do know there's people that do that. And if you're playing that game, you're playing that game. But I think, even as it, even talking business, just talking, just being strong men and women, um you got to be able to stand on what you believe in first and foremost before you start to get in this war. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think, it's important to self-reflect. If you're a spiritual person, get in the church, talk to God, really have that meditation, really sit down and talk to yourself, listen to yourself. Don't be listening to everybody else, man. Everybody else.
That's what I was about to say. But I was about to say, know what you believe in too.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about earlier. A lot of people just followers. So before you standing on something, know what you believe in.
Yeah. Don't be just standing just to be standing. You out there marching. You don't know what you marching for. When George Floyd died, there were so many people marching. They had no idea why they was out there. J.Jones, you was telling you about that. Back when
I was so
people out there
mad
just with the phones. They was out there with the phones trying to get
they wanted to be a part of it. They just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. But we got go ahead,
understand what you support too. That's the last thing I want to say on that, because you said understand what you believe in. Understand what you really support. Like when Kerry brought up that Black Lives Matter as the organization, like I always see people online talking about how they not good with what happened with that, right? But a lot of people, it's like always the same post about, what they overall mission was, right? A lot of people have a huge issue with their mission statement, but you didn't even stop to read that before you gave them your money.
Yep.
That's crazy to me, right? As a nonprofit owner, it's like, I'm gonna tell y'all this as a nonprofit owner. It's hard creating good mission statements. Okay. I did that a lot. So you're not even gonna read my mission statement. I will still accept your money. But think about it. We're doing it for the kids, we're doing it for the future. But it's also like, bro, you gotta actually understand what it is you're about to support. And there are ways to understand it. So I think that's crazy that you would just up and give somebody your money and got no idea what's really going on.
Some of the most powerful nonprofits, man, they make money off the problem. They make money off the problem being the problem.
Our number one competitor, the Red Cross.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Red Cross, you got Feed the Children, you got, you know what I'm saying, a numerous, and I don't want to put all the names out there, but you just gotta know where you stand. You gotta know what you want to see out of the world. What's on your heart? You know what I'm saying? If you want to give, then give. You know what I'm saying? If you want to help, then help. If you feel like there's a place you need to go, if you feel like there's a stance you need to take it. But just make sure it's what you think you need to do, and you're not doing it because of the trend or because the right person got on The Rock, Dwayne Johnson got on TV and told y'all this is where y'all need to send y'all money to be able to support XYZ because we've been struggling here. It's like, no, this is propaganda, folks. It's propaganda. Be knowledgeable. Be knowledgeable so you can be in the right situations. But with that being said, brothers, what y'all got for the people, man, in order for them to unlock their lights, man? What do they need to do nowadays at this time from what y'all seeing and y'all's professional opinions? What do we need to do to unlock our light out here today?
Like I tell my kids, continue to better yourself. Educate yourself. However you do it, continue to better yourself. Because just like that last topic, people will misuse you by your own ignorance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think like I've been seeing a lot of people, younger people, just being rude to people for no reason, like for TikTok and stuff, just to seem cool. So man,
that's real.
That you want them to do to you. So like, be nice to somebody, smile to somebody, and don't mug everybody you see, young brothers. You know, go shake somebody's hand. You know what I'm saying? Try to help somebody, man. Stop trying to be cool, I guess, quote unquote. So
That big prankster, he almost got killed doing that.
exactly, it's stupid. So.
Which one?
The guy that goes around mess with people, I think he's a Hispanic or Middle Eastern, I don't know, but he goes around making noises. Yeah, the guy put a gun on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, what I got for the people, if you want to unlock your light, plug it in and turn it on. Sometimes your light ain't actually locked up. You just ain't using it the right way. You ain't operating at maximum capacity.
Yeah.
Use your brain a little bit more. Because a lot of the stuff you see, it's really dumb. Like, I know I say this a lot, but it's really a lot of dumb people out here. What DeMarcus talking about? Why would you do something purposely that might get you shot for a laugh? That's stupid. I understand if you go and rob a bank for a purpose because you was trying to feed your family, but I'm just gonna mess with a person and I might get shot so people can laugh at me on the internet. It's crazy. Use your brains, man. Turn it on.
That's real. And what y'all said some beautiful things, man. And I really want to piggyback on what Drill just said on another point of that. Respect those who have been there. Like, that is going to literally propel you or hold you back. Like, if you can't respect those that have been there, I respect every elder that I know because I understand that they've been through it. Old men for counsel, young men for war. Understand the code. Understand how this works. If you don't respect all people, you don't have a chance out here. Your lights will never be plugged in. No, it's always gonna be off, or you're gonna be using that light bulb, and that ain't real talk. Y'all boys, it's been a beautiful build. Be a Light podcast. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as always, and we out.
Eating six.
Ooh. Oh.